is Rick Wheat. We put together a video here for you. We're kind of basing it towards Farrier Safety. Unfortunately, a lot of the times farriers go out, we believe they're the heroes of the horse industry. But, they go out and they sometimes get colts like you're seeing here. This colt has never had a halter on or anything else, and it's a Hancock-bred quarter horse for you that kind of keep up with the bloodlines on the horses. They're pretty well salty. But, this is a colt. I think he's a 2-year-old. He's never been handled. Of course, a lot of times we as farriers, we probably don't have to deal with this. But sometimes the younger farriers, when they first get out of school, this is one of the things that they confront. And they'll have a horse like this in a pen or something like this, and they'll say, sure, go trim it. And hopefully we're going to show you a way to take this colt. Now, as you can see, we've already have roped his foot, and we've kind of got him to where we can get a handle on him just a little bit, but he's never had a halter on or anything like that. If you notice, I've got a rope around the front foot, and I'm actually standing on that rope. What this does, this kind of puts the colt at a disadvantage, and it puts him to the point where you don't think he can run away. We've already been through this prior on this colt and shown him that he can't go away from me. Now, we could actually call this, I guess, a halter breaking issue rather than a farrier's deal, but unfortunately, there's things like this that you have to deal with. And most farriers own their own horses and stuff like this, and so this is something that we felt like that we needed to touch on and what happens if. And so this colt, like I said, had never had a halter on before until today, and he's a 2-year-old past Hancock horse, and so he's pretty salty, and he's going to try you in about every way. Now what we're doing here, we put the Noavel Headstall on him. This is a thing that I've patented, and thanks to Life Data Laboratories, they're seeing the importance of farrier safety, and this is what we're trying to actually promote with this video. We're wanting to show you that, there's ways to get by this without actually hurting the horse or perhaps getting yourself hurt or someone else around you. Now, obviously, you can tell this colt just flat don't want to lead. And see, there you'll see now he's starting to take a few steps towards me. Hopefully you're not going to get out there and have to go through and halter break a horse before you trim it. But you never know too much. You've never been in it too much to find out too much information. And so if you come across as a professional with the horse owners, I guarantee you sure come across a lot better to them. And so that's kind of what this is about, is actually showing it away. Now, one of the things that we're doing here, if you notice, I've got this front foot caught. Still got the same rope on it that we had earlier. All I'm wanting this colt to do is kind of give to me and start leading. If you notice, what he's wanting to do is turn his back end on me. This is one of the things that the Noavel Headstall really prevents, is keeping this colt from spinning around and kicking at you. Now, what we're wanting him to do is kind of give us that front foot and walk to us rather than walk away from us. And you notice when I pick up on it, the colt does actually give to me. And this is what I was hoping to accomplish, is just kind of get it to where he would give to me and start moving into me. Now we're going to try to get the colt leading. A lot of people says, I can halter break him, I can catch him, I can tie him to a tractor or truck or something like this. But the situation is, a lot of times you will teach a horse to pull back really bad by doing this. With the Noavel Headstall, you actually get them to where they don't pull back. They'll get to where they give to you without you having to actually physically pull them. Now you notice here, this colt's just been leading just for a few minutes. I mean, he just barely started leading. When he stops and I pull on him just a bit, this Noavel actually comes underneath his chin and makes him come to me. When he does come to me, I'm able to pet, rub him, show him that this is exactly what I wanted of him. And granted, sometimes you hope you don't have to get into this just to trim a horse, but you may have one of your own, or, you may have a job where you can go out there and charge a little extra for getting some ready to trim. And if you take this period of time and show them, and we hadn't worked with this colt, the entire time spent on this colt before we actually got it to where it was riding a little bit and working around is about an hour. Now here what we're trying to do is we're trying to get this colt to give to his head. And when I pull on him, I want him to give to his head. Now if this colt kicks at this particular point, he kicks himself, because the Noavel is hooked, the rope is hooked to the Noavel and around his back legs. And if he kicks, by God, that's tough. He's gonna know that he's attached to it. It's not going to hurt him that bad, but it is going to show him that he's got. If you notice, the colt went back and stopped. He went back and just stopped. Now I'm actually bringing him back to me just to show him exactly what I want him to do of it. And if he will give to me at this point, this is going to make a big difference when we start trimming this colt. A big, big difference. Now, see, this time the colt turned around pretty quick. He didn't try to run away or anything else. Now, if we don't teach this colt right off the bat, when something's on your back foot, don't run away. You notice this rope is on the ground, and he's still getting it all around his feet and all this stuff. Now, here we're teaching him to back up a little bit. Now, a horse that will back up sure makes it a whole lot easier to trim or shoe or anything else, because most of the horses that take their feet away from you are taking it away forward. They very seldom will try to take it away from you backwards. And so we want to be able to assure that the horse will back up before you actually try to put shoes on it, trim it, whatever you got to do. Now, what we're doing here, actually just working the old colt around and getting him to give to us and move around just a little bit. And if you notice, every time I put just a little bit of pressure on this rope, the colt will give me his head. Okay, very, very important thing. Because if he won't give me his head here, what would possibly make me think he would give me his head whenever I've got a foot picked up? He probably wouldn't. In fact, he'd probably try to run over me, kick me or something. And with this, we're able to take this colt and show him that he can't get away with this. Now, I speed him up just a little bit just to show him that he cannot get loose from me. And, this works a lot of different things here. What it does with the farrier work is actually gets it to where he knows when he can move, when he can't move, which way he can move, which way he should not move. Now, if you notice, I give him a little bump, I ask him to come back to me. I don't go to him. I have him come back to me. Now, I keep bumping him and just make it uncomfortable for him until he walks to me. This will be the difference between a horse that's paying attention when you try to trim him and a horse that won't. Because if a horse is not paying attention to the handler and something happens, the farrier gets hurt. And so we don't want that happening. That's the purpose of this video, to try to protect as many farriers as we can. As we all know, farrier business is tough at the very best. And if you take a bad horse, it can stop your career in a hurry. What we hope to do here is to show you a way to get by some of the tougher horses. We've got some pretty tough horses on this video, some that's really tried at different times. Now, you see, this is the first time I've even tried for this horse's foot. And if you notice, he wanted to back up, which, I'd a lot rather him back up than try to run over me. And so if he'll back up and back off of me, I've got a lot better chance of holding that foot and a lot better chance of the horse giving up. Okay, now see, here's the first time he's actually give it to me, and I'm not in a big hurry to get this foot picked up or anything else. What I'm trying to do is just get him to understand that when I want it, he's supposed to give it to me. I spend quite a little bit of time with it, but if you'll notice, my left hand, every time I reach for that foot, I've actually snugged up on that Noavel just a bit. Actually, what I've done, I've put him in the reverse mode. He's thinking to go backwards. Now, as long as he thinks he's supposed to go backwards, like he's doing right there, what he's doing, he's actually getting off of me rather than running over me. Because when a horse runs over you and you're under there with all your tools and all this stuff, chances are a colt like this would try to kick you as he goes by. So the best thing in the world for him to do is to back away from you. It's not comfortable sometimes. We want him to stand perfectly still. But at this stage of the game, he don't know what perfectly still is. He don't have a clue. And so all we're trying to do here is just show him that, we got to have it. When we ask for it, we got to have it. But the big thing that we're trying to show here is once we've give him these cues, what he's thinking about doing is backing up. Now, one of the things that we always try to go through and show is every foot that we pick up, we try to stay as far away out of the danger zone as you can. Now, I use probably a 12, 15-foot rope, whatever we can get, and just so that we can get a hold of this foot and get it out of there. I really don't want my head down there by his back legs if I can help it. Now, see, all we're doing here, now I'm not letting him bump himself right now, but when he jerks his back foot, he's actually shaking his head a little bit. When he shakes his head, he's actually correcting himself.